Welcome back, and today on Homes Explained we're doing something a little bit different. I thought it would be fun to go through the most recognizable styles in American architecture and show you how to identify them with just one defining exterior feature. Now, of course, homes have multiple features which give them away and tell us what they are, but I thought this would be cool to do like a visual shorthand for how to spot a house style with just one exterior clue. Don't forget to stick around to the end where I'll show you the one style which everyone repeatedly gets wrong. If you only notice one thing about the early colonial home, it's the lack of features. These homes weren't designed to impress, they were built for survival. So there's no decorative trim, there's no columns, there's no elaborate entryway, there's just a steep roof, small unadorned windows, and a boxy shape. Ironically, what defines this style isn't what's there, it's what's missing. And it's the stripped down, bare bones simplicity of this home, which is the key to spotting it. Saltbox homes have an unmistakable feature, and that is the long, dramatically sloping rear roof line. So from the front, a Saltbox looks like a regular, straightforward colonial, sensible, no nonsense, but step to the side and that roof line at the back sweeps down dramatically. It almost looks like a lean-to has been built up against the side of the house. And this roof line really reminds me of a mullet haircut, where it's all sensible at the front and then what is going on at the back. And it is this unexpected asymmetry of the roofline which makes the Saltbox so instantly recognizable. So this one's an easy one. Another easy one, you'll know a log cabin by its stacked horizontal logs and visible notching at the corners. It's one of the most rustic and instantly recognizable homes in American architectural history, especially in the Appalachian and frontier regions, and nothing else looks quite like it. Even today, the home is so iconic that modern cabins still borrow from the original iconic look, even if they're built from prefab panels or faux logs. The defining feature of a French Creole home is the deep wraparound gallery, which is what porches are called in Louisiana. Typically set behind slender wooden colonnettes and raised up on piers, they were designed for airflow, shade, and flood protection in the humid Gulf climate. So that broad, airy gallery, which is both functional as well as beautiful, tells you you're looking at Creole architecture. Georgian homes are all about rigid symmetry. If you see a perfectly centered door between evenly spaced windows, typically 5 on the upper level, 4 on the lower, and a rectangular shape, chances are you're looking at a Georgian Colonial. This style reflects a British revival of classical ideals from the Renaissance. Think Roman proportion and Greek balance. The symmetry of a Georgian Colonial was so precise, it's practically mathematical. Dutch colonials are known for their signature gambrel roof, which has a very distinctive curved, dual-pitched, kind of two-angled profile to it. And some people call these houses barn houses because this same gambrel roof was used on traditional American barns. Its shape allowed for maximum upper-level space, and its structural efficiency made it a very practical choice, especially among Dutch settlers in the northeast, which was where the style first took hold. What gives away a French provincial home is the steeped hip roof with flared eaves, which gives a sense of formality and grace to the facade. The elegant curve at the base of the roof was inspired by the manor houses of the French countryside, where the dramatic roof lines added both practicality as well as beauty. In American versions, that flared, steep roof remains the style's most unmistakable hallmark. If you can see a fanlight window above the door, that's a surefire sign that you're looking at a federal style home. It's that elegant half circle or elliptical window that softens the rigid geometry of the facade. But the fanlight wasn't just decorative, since it brought much needed daylight into the otherwise very dark central hallway. That graceful curve above the front door is a very quiet but unmistakable clue that you've stepped into the federal period. If you're stood at the front door and can see all the way through to the back door, then this is a shotgun house. This long, narrow floor plan is its defining feature, where a straight line of rooms, one behind the other, and they have no hallways. This style is thought to have West African and Haitian roots, and it became popular in southern cities such as New Orleans, where the narrow urban lots required creative use of space. This uninterrupted line of sight is what sets the shotgun house apart. It was a close call between the large triangular pediment and the double height columns, strictly speaking called colossal columns, but since we're only picking one feature to define the Greek Revival, it's the columns that win. These temple-like columns, often Doric or Ionic, are what makes the style so instantly recognizable. They were inspired by ancient Greek architecture and embraced in early America as a symbol of democracy and civic virtues. What really sets the southern style apart is the presence of broad two-storey porches. These stacked porches weren't just decorative, they were a practical solution to the southern climate, offering shade, airflow, and a place to catch the breeze on a hot, sunny afternoon. Inspired by Caribbean and neoclassical designs, these porches became a defining feature of grand southern homes. If you see pointed arches, think Gothic Revival. You'll see it in windows, doorways, or decorative gable trim. It's that tall, narrow curve which comes to a peak, and this shape was borrowed directly from medieval cathedrals and brought into residential architecture during the Victorian era, which favoured picturesque storybook designs over classical formality. An instantly recognisable Italianate feature are the oversized roof brackets. You'll find them tucked beneath the wide eaves, often in pairs or scroll shapes, creating a strong shadow line and decorative rhythm along the roof line. This style was inspired by Italian country villas, where the deep eaves and architectural embellishments balance practicality with beauty. In the American versions, those brackets became a defining feature, so if you see them, think Italianate. If you spot a mansard roof, that super deep, double-pitched roof with dormer windows, chances are you're looking at a second empire. This bold, vertical roofline was borrowed from Paris, France, where it became super popular under the reign of Napoleon III, because it allowed for extra living space without being taxed as an additional story. In the US, however, it became a stylish way to add grandeur and additional attic space during the post-Civil War building boom. If the roof looks incredibly deep, chances are you're looking at a second empire. A row house is a long row of attached homes that all shared a side wall. These were especially common in urban areas such as Philadelphia, Baltimore, and New York, where the efficient use of land was absolutely key. The repeating facades created a strong pattern on the street, but inside each unit was very much self-contained. And while details such as the front stoop or cornices vary according to city and the time period in which they were built, ultimately it's the wall-to-wall construction and the uniform alignment that defines this enduring style of the row home. If you see a rounded turret or a corner tower, you're looking at a Queen Anne. These whimsical towers were the iconic feature and were often topped with conical roofs. Popular during the era of Victorian excess, Queen Anne homes were meant to dazzle, with those turrets being the architectural exclamation point. What defines a shingle style home is the continuous blanket of wooden shingles wrapping the entire structure, roof, walls, everything, just one kind of flowing skin of cedar that ties the whole structure together. This is a move away from the Victorian detailing, which gave the shingle style a more relaxed and organic feel, especially among the coastal northeast, which was where the style became popular. That uninterrupted shingle surface is what makes this style instantly recognizable. The clearest sign you're looking at a Châteauesque home is this steeply pitched roof, very dramatic and punctuated by towers, ornate dormers, and the tallest chimneys you've ever seen. This was inspired by the Grand Chateau of the Loire Valley in France, and in the US it became a favourite of the Gilded Age mansions, which projected the wealth and status of America's elite. A centred front door, fanlight above it and side lights. These are the hallmarks of a colonial revival. But remember at the beginning I said there was one style that everyone gets wrong, and this is it, because people think they're looking at a Georgian or a Federal, whereas actually they're looking at a much later reinterpretation. So what happened with the colonial revival, that all of those elements of the previous various different iterations of the colonials were all blended together to create something new and something very American. So that central formal door with the fanlight above it and side lights is actually a hallmark of the colonial revival, but it's also a red herring. And that wraps up part one. I hope you've enjoyed this quick guide to how to recognise those architectural styles with just one element. Be sure to come back next week where we'll be delving into the 20th century and beyond. So if you've ever wondered the difference between a ranch and a bungalow, or a Spanish and Mediterranean style, make sure to check back next week. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and drop a note in the comment below. Let me know where you're from and what is the most common architectural style that you see in your area. Thanks for watching and see you next time.